I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you, it is important to start in a space in which you will be able to have hard conversations so that when you get to the bedroom, you understand that we can have this discussion, that when she says no, it's not me being upset about it, it's me understanding.
Yeah.
There may be something going on I don't understand
That's
about it.
right.
Maybe I
That's a
need
good
to
point.
ask about that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And understand that. It's about being
Yeah.
able to have those, discussions after sex about what you've learned, right? A lot of people
Yeah.
are probably laughing right now. What do you mean what you learned? Well, maybe I learned something new about, a position or about how she acts or about how she feels or about how I feel and what I don't
Yeah.
like and what she likes. And if I just let that go and never have that conversation, that can turn into an argument. That can turn into me being distant. That can turn into
Resentment.
a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Being able to work through these conversations without even having arguments. That's another thing, right? If you
Yeah.
know your
Yeah.
partner, then your partner should in some ways be able to have a discussion with you without it feeling like they are belittling you or judging
Yeah.
you or things of that nature. So, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? If I can't
Yeah.
say that position doesn't work for me without it becoming a fight, then the problem isn't in the bedroom. That problem isn't in the bedroom.
There you go. Hey, you said it. You
That's
said it.
good.
You
That's
said it.
good.
That's
That's
that.
good.
That's
Good.
golden. That's golden. Well, it's interesting. My therapist, I had therapy earlier today and was
Nice.
telling my therapist about this episode we were going to do. And he was the one who was suggested to me at some point, he's like, hey, if you find yourself not having those intimate moments as much as you would like, take the time with your partner to schedule it. Like literally put it on the
Yeah.
schedule. Like this day, this time is going to happen. You take all the guesswork out. Nobody's worried about getting rejected. No, nothing. Like this is when it's going down. And so I was talking to him. I was like, you gave me that suggestion. I'm going to bring that up on the air. But I was like, do you have any other advice? And he was like, look, the one thing I'll tell you, and of course you just talked about it. He's like, just talk. Like you have to talk. You have to talk to your partner. And in those moments, be willing to share what it is that you're really going in every way. Things that touch the bedroom, don't touch the bedroom, because what doesn't touch the bedroom ultimately does anyway. So,
Yeah.
but he said, he's like, that really is the key. Just make sure people know you just have to be willing to talk. Talk in a way that communication flows for you and your partner, but you have to communicate with each other in order for, these things to resolve themselves.
I think it's
I
also
agree.
the talking aspect, but how you do it.
Yep.
That's real.
That is I think something that often missed. It's like we could talk about like, girl, you ain't doing what I need you to do. It's like, hold up. Or vice versa, right? Like understand
Agreed.
how you want to deliver already something that's quite sensitive to talk about and uncomfortable for people to talk about. Think about your how, and that may require you going to
To your
therapy
point,
about it.
to your point, Jay, what does it actually mean to feel, to like feel desire? Not just wanted physically, but chosen, right? Because like, I think in some ways, that's a question. Like,
Wow.
what does it really actually mean to feel, to feel desire? And I think for me, just the experience of understanding that somebody wants you the way that you want them, right? In every way. That right there,
In every way.
even outside of the bedroom, it makes me feel even better sometimes than being in it. Just to know that something, just to know that somebody really wants my attention, really wants my time, really wants to hear my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Wants to connect with me and my feelings, wants to enjoy things that they don't even enjoy, but they know I enjoy. And I'm saying, you ain't got to enjoy that. And they saying, nope, I'm good.
You preaching it.
Yeah, you are.
You know what I'm
are.
saying?
Man,
Come on.
yes.
That's
All
gonna
of
make
that is so real.
That's gonna make that
is so
physical
real.
intimacy even better.
That's right.
Oof.
That's real. That's real. I think
remember.
it's like, go ahead. No, this is good.
No,
This is
you
good.
got
Go
it. You
ahead.
got it.
I think what you made me feel when you expressed that is making love to your best friend.
Yeah, come on.
When you have somebody that completes you in all these areas and then you making love to that person, it is so existential. Like it's like on a whole
nother
different level. It really does change how you look at things and how you look at love and relationships and sex and how you desire and all those things that we're talking about. That's what you just made me think about. So I'll let you go ahead, CJ, do your thing.
Man, I wish I had gone first because what I'm about to share ain't nearly that deep.
No, that's
It
all
was
good.
when Janine and I were dating, I remember like this question, what does it actually mean to feel desired? And Quest, you said a whole bunch of things in there that would just resonate with me. But one of it was like that person is doing things with you that they know you like because you like them. It doesn't have to be that they will ever enjoy it, but the fact that you enjoy it makes them want to be there with you.
That's right.
And
That's
for
right.
us, I didn't even realize that this was happening at the time, but this is when I was working out in Williamstown and she was living down in DC in law school. And we would see each other every other weekend. So like once a month, she was coming up to Massachusetts to see me. And we sent some pictures to her family of us on a hike in the Berkshire Mountains. And they were like, the fact that you went on a hike with that dude means this is the person you love. I know you love this man and y'all are supposed to be together because you would never do that for anybody else. You know what I mean? Like it was that kind of thing. So when you were talking about that, it made me reflect back to that because when I suggested we go on a hike, there was no resistance to it at all. You know, I wouldn't have known that it wasn't something that she didn't really want to do. She saw my exuberance for it and it made her want to do it as well. And it showed in the pictures that we had from there. Like she was genuinely happy to be with me up on that mountain. So that part is real. What you're talking about there is real. And there are definitely things I have come to enjoy just for the fact that she enjoys it. Like she and Avery right now, Avery's home for the summer. They're downstairs watching Love Island. I don't care about that show one iota, but when they're watching it, if I'm there with them, I'm in it with them and I'm enjoying, I'm present with them and I'm enjoying it because I know that for my wife, that like means something to her. For my daughter, that means something to her. And that's how you spend time with each other.
Yeah, for sure. So let me, CJ, I'm gonna cut a little bit. I'm gonna ask you something like knowing your partner again, like, you know, she's not the same woman that you married. Are you curious about who she's becoming?
Oof. Yeah, wow. I love that question. And I think to me, this is where that conversation changes because maybe it's not really about sex, right? Like instead, I think what we are talking about here is desire. Because everybody does want to feel chosen in some way, in that way. So like everybody wants to know that somebody still looks at them and says, like, I would choose you again if I had the option. But after 30 years together, your wife isn't the exact same person that you married, you know? And honestly, if we're being honest about it, you or I, like, I'm not the exact same person. I'm not the exact same man that I was either. And so you both realize that you've been evolving over the decades and will continue to do so for as long as you're together. So maybe the question isn't like, how do we get back to where we used to be? And instead, maybe the question is, how do I get to know this newest version of you? You know, like, how do I get to know this newest version of you? Like, this is who you are now. And me getting to know that you from my own more evolved space means that we're growing in ways and in intimate ways that are gonna like fill that cup in ways that just the sex alone would not do. You know what I mean? So to that end, I wonder how many of us did stop being curious about our partners. You know, we think we already know everything about our spouses. We've been together for so long, but people didn't stop growing at 40, at 50, even 60 or beyond. And the question, I guess, in that sense is more like, are we still paying attention?
No,
That's so good. That's so rich.
I feel that.
I gotta ask you something, Quest, because CJ, you sparked something when you talked about basically making sure it keeps a level of newness. Making sure it stays fresh, like constantly working on ways to create a level of newness. I think that's with one partner. But Quest, I have to imagine, man.
It is.
I have to imagine, man. I mean, it's. I honestly, personally, I only have time for one, and I respect your choice and your decision. But how do you make sure that your desire and the freshness and the newness, how do you sustain that when you're sharing yourself across multiple partners?
You definitely have to be a couple of things and maybe a few. Number one is you have to be transparent. Like that transparency has to flow. It has to flow from the beginning because of the simple fact that you are in a space now where when you look at it from a physical, intimate scenario, you want to be safe at all times and you want to understand that aspect early on and upfront. Secondly, I think in the grand scheme of transparency, it's being able to open up yourself in a way in which allows both of you to be as free as possible. So that leads to the second part, which is intentionality. You need to be intentional about making sure that you create the connection that you need. And for real, I got to be honest with you. Like in my desire, I looked at it from a situation of templating. I know sounds real analytical and things of that nature. In some ways, that is part of my mind as well. And I said to myself, well, I want to get to know these people. If I am going to learn about one person, what would that look like? And I took kind of that shell and framework and crossed it over into understanding this is what I would do if I was just literally dating. And I wanted to know more about another person. So if these, kind of conversations continue and the transparency and the vulnerability from this all continues, then I feel like that is what continues to make things sustainable and what continues to spark that desire, because now not only am I learning more, but I'm learning that you're changing, right? But I'm learning that y'all are changing, right? So that has to keep my flow of creativity, my, in some ways, my action to be more creative around my questioning, learning them more, my intentionality around that has to be really, really firm in what I believe, not only for myself, what I would want for myself, but also what I know that they desire as well. You don't want to hold that back. You know what I'm saying? Because that initial spark is always going to be that flame. But when you get to being in a situation like I am, where you're together for 6+ years with these, these same people, it's like you're saying to yourself, how do I continue to keep it creative? But you know them.
Wow.
You know the different things that you are now going to be able to start, focusing around. And you should be innovative in how you present those things.
That was a lot.
Yeah, it was.
I'll
But just
show you,
think,
man.
I'll just put one example to it. Think about it. You may have that one thing that, like, me and one of my partners, we enjoy the fact that we can, sit down and have a good time watching comedy. You know what I'm saying? Just being in that light of intimacy. We're watching comedy. We're watching Tiny Desk and things of that nature, and that's what one thing that looks like. Another partner of mine, I understand her, to the point where she enjoys being able to go out and have a good time at a certain lounge or whatever like that. But it looks like live music. It looks like, a certain, kind of Afrofusion mix. You know what I'm saying? It also incorporates more, spiritual and roots types of things, being able to connect with the motherland more and stuff of that nature. Like, I know this, you know what I'm saying? And you take those things, you incorporate it in everything, and you just try to expound upon it as much as you can.
Yeah. Well, that's
That's
an
that
interesting
connective
question.
tissue.
I love that, man. I love that. It's interesting, man. It's interesting how you can experience those things. CJ, you can experience those things with 27 years. I can experience those things in one human that has all those things too. So it's interesting, man. We're hitting it from so many different angles.
Yeah.
And it's still hitting on the same thing across different, formulas, different formats, different, things that you like. So I think please hear us in these things when we talk about being intentional, making sure that you're staying fresh in who you are and what you bring to the table. Those things are important, man, because intentionality is so important, especially when you've got so many things going on.
Yeah, definitely. Yo, I really want to just ask you all, like from the standpoint of like what would be in some ways what you actually do. Like what is kind of like the architecture of you understanding your partner in a space that leads to that physical intimacy?
Whoo!
That's a great
That's a I
great
think
question.
I think that is a great question. I think, man, that's a curveball. You threw me for a curveball because I think about a couple of things that come up in here. I think it's about intentionality. I think it's about the chase, the thrill of the chase, making sure that that person feels that they're wanted. Especially for us as men, I think it's important for us to make sure the woman and us feel wanted and desired. but also understanding their love language, man. That to me, I think that can be the lead. Like I know, me cooking, me doing certain things, me, that showing public forms of affection, like certain things are important that lead up and it's the pregame, it's the warm up, right? It's the it's all of that makes that so when that time comes, it's not hard, it's not difficult. A woman feels safe. So how to make a woman feel safe and belong at the same time, I think is what makes that intimacy so much easier, so much higher, and so much, just powerful for the relationship. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's interesting to me is as you were asking the question, and then Jamin, as you were giving your answer, where my mind went to stress and and the fact that when you're too stressed, it's the kind of thing that you kind of like, I don't really feel like doing that because I'm so stressed. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, your partner's like, but if you let this happen, that would de-stress you. But it's one of those, it's like, you have to have an intimate life on top of accepting that stress is just a part of life. You know what I mean? Like if you can't wait until you're not stressed to get intimate with your partner and think that other person is going to be satisfied, right? So like, again, as I think about that and the way that stress changes everything, we usually think about stress just as something that makes us tired, but it also changes the way we show up emotionally.
That's right.
There's financial pressure. We got kids. We're taking care of aging parents.
Yeah.
Think about where we are in terms of global politics right now, like our government, the stuff that's going on, our careers, our health. I just went through a health issue not too long ago. You get to this age, 40s and 50s, you got a spouse that's going through menopause or has gone through it. Men, we go through our own midlife crisis. Like, obviously, none of those stressors we're going through stay outside of the bedroom. Like, they all come inside of there with us. So, again, lack of intimacy in the bedroom is truly more a symptom than I think it is a cause. And I think too often we can think of it that way. And then I guess the other thing that came to mind to me in terms of like impact and intimacy is it's resentment. Because I honestly think resentment, that's one of those big intimacy killers that nobody really talks about, because resentment usually doesn't start with sex. It starts with somebody feeling unseen, like they're feeling like they've sacrificed, that they've carried this, that they're doing all this and nobody notices. I would say for me, it was I had that moment of leaving behind my dreams of becoming a big time Division I basketball coach, and I left that behind to carve out time, because what I was doing, even as a decently high level high school coach, what I was doing was like making Janine a single parent for half the year. I wasn't able to attend a lot of the things that the girls were doing. And I saw friends of mine who had gone deeper into it, and they either had no family at all, or they were married but didn't have children, or if they had children, they knew that they were going to be estranged at some point. And so I gave all of that up to make sure that I was there for family. But it was still a sacrifice considering how strong those dreams used to be for me, and considering some of the pretty good opportunities I had to pursue that dream that I ultimately passed on for family. So without a doubt, I would say like giving up on dreams can absolutely cause resentment if we're not careful. And I have plenty of friends who feel that way without knowing how to express it at home, without those sentiments being taken the wrong way. So they just dumb it up and don't say anything about it, right? And so like for them, and I say for me too, but I dealt with this and it was fine, and Janine and I talked about it, but these friends of mine that I see, when recognition of their sacrifices doesn't happen, or if it happens but the appreciation for those sacrifices leaves, affection often follows out the door with it, and then desire quietly leaves after all of that. So again, I keep stressing that the bedroom isn't really creating the problem, it's more revealing it.
Yeah, I totally understand, and I totally agree. And I feel like when, just to sum it in some ways all up, we have to be intentional about how we need things and how others need things. We have to be mindful, to your point, Chris, that all of us have our individual lives, and those individual lives carry a lot of baggage each and every moment of the day with it. And we have to, in some ways, give grace, not only to ourselves, but the people that are in our lives, so that when we get to a moment of intimacy, we both can understand that this is the place where we relax. This is the place where we can let go. This is the place where we can learn and not be judged. This is the place that we can laugh and have that same playfulness that we have when we're not doing this at the same time when we are. This is our intimate space, and it doesn't always have to come with the physical aspect, but it needs to come with the understanding that we can be here together and that we can do that in as much freedom as we possibly can have with each other. It takes learning, it takes vulnerability, it takes trust, it takes understanding, but overall, it takes us being able to understand that we have to communicate these things, and if we don't, it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. So that's my take on it as well. Like,
That's
all
a
of these
blessing,
things
yeah.
that I know you all are hearing from us, make sure that you put them all together. It is really important that all of those things come together.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
so good, man. It's so good. Hey, y'all, we're gonna wrap this thing up. If this
Yeah.
thing hits you like it hit us, subscribe to this channel. We're gonna keep talking about these topics, the topics that make you a little uncomfortable, the topics you may not have someone next to you to talk about. And just even if you listen to this today, maybe it gave you a little more confidence to have the conversation the next time you land beside your partner to talk about some of these things, because it don't necessarily have to end in the way that you think it may have to. And so hopefully this is giving you some encouragement to stand up, to have the conversation so that you don't miss your partner through intimacy, because we definitely want you to be with your partner for a very long time, as we all do.
Yes.
So love yourself, love your partner, speak up, have the conversation. 4050 here for you. We'll see you on the next episode, y'all. Y'all be easy. Peace.